Hi there, I'm James Osborne, the co-founder of the Recruitment Network, and this is the TRN Podcast. Every week, we unpack the strategies, the technologies, the processes and mindsets fueling today's top-performing recruitment agencies. We take a look behind the scenes of some great recruitment businesses. We listen to the real-life stories of those who have built those businesses, and we learn from some of the industry's greatest thought leaders to help you become both future fit and future relevant. So let's begin with this next episode of the TRM Podcast. I've invited on today Alexander Grant from Jackson Grant, based over in Bangkok, over in Thailand. So one of our members over there. So firstly, Alex, lovely to see you. How are you? It's 6 o'clock in the evening. So thank you for taking the time out to speak to us. And how are things over there for you, just generally?
Yeah, so my pleasure. Thank you for inviting me on this podcast today. I would say the beginning of the year was tough, and one of the things that happens in Thailand is we probably get 6 months later than what happens in the UK. So it tends to start in the UK, and all of these business decisions and let's say the difficulties, it kind of comes over to us 6 months later. So Q1, we were expecting it to go with a bang, and it wasn't really as strong as we wanted it to be. But it seems that in the past month and a half, things have really turned around. So for the year, we set a very ambitious target, and we're probably only about 6% behind what we set, which, to be honest, when we set that target, I'm not sure I was 100% aligned with my business partner, because he always pushes the envelope and I've got to make it happen. So overall, I'd say there's a lot of optimism. And when I've met other TRM members, meeting other recruitment leaders, I think what we found in the last quarterly TRN session is the optimism is rising. So, I think everybody's in a tough space right now. What we need to do is make sure we take this time to optimize and cost cut a lot, like get rid of unnecessary things that we don't need, shiny toys, and then we'll thrive.
Yeah, absolutely spot on. And you're so right, because you can't change the up and down nature of our industry because of the economy and the stuff that's going on. But what we can't do is just sit and wait. I think we've waited, a lot of people have been waiting for like 2 years. It's like, no, you can't wait anymore. You've got to go and build a great business irrespective of what's going on in the market. And I think this is where AI and technology really, really plays its part. One of the things we're going to talk about today, because I look at AI in a number of different aspects and all this tech stuff that's going on. One is about driving growth and sort of amplifying what it is that we can do. And then the other side is about almost like, as you said, optimizing productivity, efficiency, those types of words and that sort of stuff. One of the things that you guys have done, as we know, is that is it 3,000 hours that you've saved across your business at the moment? Is that sort of an actual figure? But let's just go into a second. So how do you define 3,000 hours, first of all? And what does that actually look like in real terms?
Okay, so first and foremost, I wouldn't have had a clue how many hours we'd saved if we hadn't met. So we've been a member of the TRN network now for over a year. And I think, when you are a business leader, sometimes it's a lonely existence, right? And you're not quite sure if you're doing the right thing. So I think first and foremost, having the opportunity to talk to other business leaders, even if it's in the UK, has been a godsend. Secondly, TRN had a table where you could analyze all of your different tasks and equate a time to it. So what I did is I assigned it to a project team internally. And I said, right, go through all of our processes and add up the time that we spend doing everything. And when we looked at it, it was around 3,000 hours.
Oh, am I there?
Yep.
Oh, good. Sorry. Perfect. So, and that's the project Automate toolkit that we were talking about before. So that's looking at your current business, saying actually these are all the things that we're doing, and maybe the things that we could take away or automate, etc. And 3,000 hours is a hell of a lot of time, right? Which equates to either more recruiters that you can bring in with that cost saving, or just enjoying the cost saving and creating greater profitability from that. Just to Neil's question, so we can put this into context. How big is the business?
Yeah, so we are about 30 headcount right now, but we're split a third. So a third of our revenue comes from executive search, a third of our revenue comes from contingent recruitment, and a third of our revenue comes from RPO business as well. So what that also adds is a layer of complexity to the process, because I kind of sit at the top and manage the day-to-day operations. But you can imagine executive search is completely different than contingent recruitment, and RPO is very different from contingent or executive. So everybody's got their own process. When I say everybody, I mean each business unit, but we have to do tweaks to make sure that they're making the right savings in time. And the biggest time waste that we had was searching. And it still continues to be our biggest time waste, but just even things like adding notes on the system, how to shortlist candidates, how to send CVs to a client, how to make resumes in the first place. Like when we analyzed and we went through each of these things, we started to see, we're not making 50% changes, we're making incremental 1%, 2% gains. So, over the year, it adds up to 365% improvement, right? So if you can keep making that 1% gain, it makes a huge difference over time.
And do you think, and obviously the business is split into three, but do you think the most of the impact has happened to the sort of the front office stuff, as in winning business, reaching out to clients, that sort of thing? Or has it most of it happened in sort of the back office side of things or the middle side?
So I would say absolutely the back office side of things. But what that's enabled us to do is focus more time on people. And one of our USPs as a business is, in Thailand particularly, a lot of it is transactional recruitment. And we're in a quite a unique country, which is we get to meet decision leaders easily. So I can go and sit with a CEO or an MD of a company, and it's not hard to do. You can also build your own networks and get out there and see people. It's not as nothing is really done on the phone when it comes to doing business. So this is one of the challenges we've had, and we've spoken about it. And you've challenged me to say, I can help automation work. And I'm saying you can't. Right? This is the argument we've had. There's other ways that you can automate. So what that's done is all of the back office. Like for me, if I'm working on an actual project, I'm doing executive search, the amount of work I would do to do like a report and comparison and litmus test of candidate could take me 2 hours to do one person if I've taken my time. It takes me 15 minutes to do a full 4 or 5 person shortlist using AI optimization tools. Our ATS system, we use Vincere. So we utilize the live list function, which in Thailand, we have what's called PDPA, but in the UK, it'd be data protection. So we use that as a USP selling point, which is we are fully data protection compliant. You have access to what we see. You get to access the profiles without a long email chain. And okay, we're selling that as a service, but the reality is we're saving time on the back end because it's all on the system. We don't have to write individual emails.
Yeah, perfect. Okay, brilliant. And Alex, you've touched on a question I was going to get on to is your tech stack. So obviously you're using Vincere. One of the biggest issues we've got at the moment, and this is typical of what's happening, is people just buying shed loads of stuff. AI, we go to an exhibition or an event, there's like 150 booths of shiny things all bumping around the place, and people just buy, and then they're now trying to stick them all together. I was talking with one of the members this first thing this morning on my way up to London, and they got about 120 consultants, and we were chatting to them about their tech stack and what they currently have been doing in the past, and then I've now stopped them, is they've literally just been playing with so many different tools. There's nothing coherent. There's nothing you can repeat or roll out across the business. And they don't really know whether it's working or not. So for me, it's about building a tech stack that really is fit for purpose for tomorrow. And they said, well, we don't know what tomorrow is because all this new stuff keeps coming out. It doesn't matter. Just have something today and build it today and get on with it. Worry about the tomorrow stuff tomorrow, sort of thing. So what does your tech stack look like? I mean, obviously you got Vincere in there. What else are you using? Are you using Elay as part of that, or how's it all work?
No, so we have Vincere is a very good ATS system, but it's terrible when it comes to business development. So we have HubSpot for BD, and we use a sales dashboard as a pipeline tracker. We can do automation through it, but we haven't pressed the button to go live on that yet. A lot of the work that we do, because it's not transactional, it's exclusive. So we don't have to work with hundreds of clients. We work with probably no more than 100 a year. And we go, mile deep, inch wide, rather than mile wide, inch deep. And then from the ATS system and the HubSpot, we use, Outlook is our Outlook 365. So all of our office tools are Microsoft. On top of that, we've got paid chat GPT. Jesus. And what we haven't given that to everybody. So we centralize this in the office there's 2 banks of desks. You book in, you've got your chat GPT, that's saving cost. On top of that, I've built a custom GPT for my team. So again, a lot of information from TRN, information that I've practiced, and it's sort of a hobby for me now. So like I'll sit there in the evening, I've got half an hour, and I'll be like, right, how can I improve this GPT? Because if you go into it with a strategy of we will do this and we'll launch it and then it's done, you will die. You have to keep evolving. And one of the concepts we've got now is don't be a magpie. No shiny items. Don't be attracted to the shiny item, because that's just what it is. And mostly ChatGPT is faster. It's evolving quicker. Grok is evolving quicker. So is Gemini. So be very, very cautious on purchasing tech for the sake of it. I mean, one of the things I always do is I demo tech every month, 4 or 5 different providers. And when you say any example of GPT internally, I built it. So basically creating a menu of all of the things you want it to do. So we've got a learning platform built into the GPT, plus we've got like how to write a job description. Bear in mind, I'm in Thailand, so it's a second language country. How to write interview questions, how to do competencies, how to do candidate litmus tests. And it's still in trial. It's not like we're using it automatically, but that's one part of it. Another part of the tech stack is using a meeting note taker. So whether you use Read AI, Fireflies, there's loads of them out there. So for example, if we're doing a meeting, I don't want to do a telephone call because, again, Thailand's a bit unique. There's 1% unemployment. Everybody's fighting for the top percentile of talent. So I want to make sure that my team are meeting people. It's quality over quantity, accuracy over speed. Our business is not as transactional where we get a job and 3 days later we send a short list. It doesn't work like that here. We probably get about 10 days to do a contingent job. So then if you do Read AI, for example, that's the one I use, you can use it on premium, costs about $20 a month. Or you can do it free and you get about 9 different reports. So what I do is I plug that into my interview. When I finish the interview, it will send me a report. I then take that report, copy and paste it into my ChatGPT, and I've programmed my ChatGPT to give me the report how I like it, breaking down by competency, salary extraction, tables, everything. So when I take that, I copy and paste it. I say, this is what I want you to do, bang, and it's done. And it takes 15 seconds. Now, of course, you just need to go back and check that it's not lying, because AI lies.
Yeah. Well, it does. And that's where the difference becomes with when you've got the free version of ChatGPT as an example and the paid version of ChatGPT. If you're building your own agents, then you can train them not to lie, in essence, which is what a lot of people haven't done. And that's the thing. And we talk about, I think we discussed this right at the beginning of the AI Mastery Challenge about how do you clone yourself on ChatGPT. Most people haven't even done that yet. So they're using ChatGPT without even having cloned themselves. So they wonder why the results comes back very, very generic, and in some cases it goes off and hallucinates over here and so on and so forth. So you touched on about the agent, or you touched on about an agent that you've built and that type of stuff. I'm a massive fan of this, and I don't think, again, this is people getting their heads around this. For people to understand this call, if you're not familiar with this, an agent in essence is like imagine it as a worker bot. So it's an AI worker, a person that sits on your computer that basically does a load of things for you all the time. We'll talk about automations in a second, but once you've got your head around that, you can then start using automations to then actually automate that entire process. So you don't have to go into ChatGPT and ask it to do something. The automations mean it happens. I've got mine scheduled for, some are scheduled to go every day, some are scheduled to work every hour, some every week, and so on and so forth. So that's the difference when you've got AI agents and you've got automations working in unison together. Alex, talk me through the AI agent that you said that you built and the process that you followed to create it. And by the way, let's make this really clear, because everyone talk about AI agents, they imagine you've got some little robot sitting next to you that you built, and that makes you some sort of genius. And not in a rude way. You don't have to be a genius to build this stuff, do you? That's the point.
Oh, I do have a robot next to me. No, I'm joking.
Yeah.
Okay, so I think just take a step back and just explain it in layman's terms. When you go into these meetings and we're talking about AI, everybody's using ChatGPT, right? Let's not get it confused. Everybody is using this, but there's three levels of AI. So you've got ChatGPT as a basic or a paid version. On top of that, you've got what's called a AI Task Manager, which is people are starting to really use that now. So for example, in ChatGPT, you could set a task, which is provide me a daily news report minus any sensationalism. I want to take from New York Times, Telegraph, Wall Street Journal, but I don't want to take from The Sun or the Daily Star. And every day you'll get a personalized news report. That's a basic sort of task that you can set it to do. The next iteration is the AI agent where you program it. And to be honest, it's cheap enough to outsource this as well. You could probably go on like a site like Fiverr and say, I want an AI agent. I want it to do this. I mean, we've started moving into blue collar recruitment, which is something we've never done because
Yeah.
it's quite unregulated in Thailand. But we're doing jobs for security guards, and we are getting 400,000 people interested every week in this, but then the drop off is like 90% at the end. Like we're getting like only maybe 40, 50 people from it, but the
Yeah.
AI agent is basically programmed to automatically respond to all of these. So this is not through ChatGPT. This is Facebook with another plugin. So if you're going to invest in tech, you've got to know what your ROI is out the back end of it. So basically, we're getting clients to pay up front for this blue collar service, but we're using that revenue to build the AI agents. So yeah, and someone's just put agent.ai makes it easy to build yourself. Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. If you want to look at it in terms of a little bit of a hobby, if you're too serious about it, obviously running a business is stressful. So if you then think, oh God, I've got to now build this, it can be make it a little bit more relaxed and have a timeline for when you want to execute these things. Because if you just go into it, which is, oh, I'll just dabble and see what happens, you've never got an end point. So for
Yeah.
me, everything that we do is we set a time limit every quarter. We do what's called quarterly rocks. So quarterly rocks are things that you absolutely non-negotiable have to hit. So then that gives you that impetus. It's a bit more manual than AI, but you use the AI as your end result. But first, you've got to set those goals.
100%. And there's a couple of questions coming through about linking all this together and stuff. I've just put it in the chat myself here. So when people are asking, what should I be building type stuff, I've just put a list here. All of the things here, if you haven't built an AI agent to do this stuff for you, I think you've just missed the last 18 months of what's been going on around us. This is like the basic list. And if any of you need any help with this, just let us know. And give us a like or a thumbs up or whatever in the chat here, and I'll make sure we'll share some stuff with you. This is the stuff that we're helping members build all the time. And it's not difficult, but you need to sort of get your head around this as much as you can. Nathan asked a question about linking this to your CRM system. And in some cases, I mean, someone said to me the other day, it's like, out of all the systems that you've got, all the tech out there, what would you buy tomorrow if you started again? And for everyone on the call, I would buy two things. I would buy ChatGPT, the paid version, absolutely. And I'd buy something like make.com or Zapier or 8and8, one of those ones, just to automate and link everything together. Between ChatGPT, and I use make.com personally, but between ChatGPT and make.com, I can pretty much create anything I want to do, any workflow I want to create, and make it pretty bloody impressive, I think. And I'm an amateur as much as anyone else is. So again, if you need help with that, let us know. Alex, John asked the question, have you linked Vincere and HubSpot platforms together in any format? So they're updating each other and working sort of, I suppose, collaboratively together as two platforms.
Not yet, but that would be the next stage. And the reason we haven't done that again is because the work that we do, we don't want to just win work for the sake of winning work. Our value proposition is exclusivity, it's the quality. So if you go out and you've automated the whole sales process, we lose our secret sauce.
Yeah.
So, one of the challenges we faced as a business is me and Richard, who's my business partner, is other people are not able to win the jobs. And, I think we've got to accept that the new generation don't want to do cold call. They don't want to hit the pavement. They don't want to do that grind. So we have to give them other tools to make it a lot better. So actually what we've done internally is we changed the incentives to more on account management than BD. And that seems to be, generating a lot better results.
Yeah, and there's a whole different conversation. And again, I'm really happy to have this with anyone on the call today. So we're rolling out at the moment. This is why I'm heading up to Leeds this evening and then Bristol tomorrow to run some events for some of the recruitment leaders out there. And we're talking a big focus on business development. And actually, it's as much about some of our recruiters don't want to do the cold calling as much about the clients don't want to receive cold calls anymore. And now, those of you, I'm sure you've all been heard about this week about the new thing that they're being rolled out on the new iPhones, where they're actually, when a cold call comes through, there's actually a message at the bottom, and the person calling you has to tell you what the call is about, so you can decide whether you want to answer the cold call or not. So that's coming on the new phone. So, that's going to absolutely decimate the cold calling industry, if you can call it that. So again, you've got to have different ways of being able to access your client base. Otherwise, it just ain't going to work anymore. It's not because cold calling is a bad thing. It just ain't going to work. It's just as simple as that.
I'll give you another AI automation hack, James, as well. So your LinkedIn, right? So 70% of all of my BD leads come through my LinkedIn. So what I'll do is I'll use AI or AI agent or ChatGPT to create a content calendar, because sometimes I just, I'm blank. I don't know what to put. And I'd been busy onboarding new staff. We had 4 new people recently, and I was like, God, I haven't posted on LinkedIn for about 4 or 5 days. So I had an idea, and it was, why do so many expats struggle to get a job in Thailand? Oh my God, I shouldn't have done it. I got about 50, 60 personal messages. Can I have an hour with you to talk about my career? No, I'm not a job center. I'm an executive recruiter. Okay, so that was the first part. But somebody commented, oh, recruiters need to understand there's problems. I said, okay, let me message you privately. I had that meeting on Friday. It ended up being, it led to a pitch for an executive search, which I'm looking like I'm going to win, which would be probably about $30,000 if we close it. Nice. On top of that, executive coaching for 3 of his members, which would be probably somewhere in the region of about 15,000. And on top of that, it was, now let's talk about the wider recruitment needs as well. So that all came from me using AI to develop some content for LinkedIn and me being proactive enough to go through my comments.
Yeah, and if anybody wants any help with that, I've got some brilliant prompts that we've created about how to create really cool AI content on social media that actually works and plays the algorithms as well. So again, if you just, I don't know how it works on this Zoom things, but if you give us a thumbs up or a like or something on that, we'll make sure that the team send that prompt across to you and you can see it. It's really, really clever and it's personalized as well, which is important. It's not just a generic, I mean, I look at stuff all the time. You all do look at stuff all the time that comes out on LinkedIn. It's just bloody awful, half of it. Yeah. It's so obviously being written by ChatGPT. There's a different way of doing that now, and it's so much better. Penelope asked the question about, if you're a one-person business, are all these tools as beneficial, etc. And Penelope, we've got a lot of solo members at TRN. There's a whole part of the community who are individual recruitment businesses who want to stay individuals, etc. And actually, I think this is one of the biggest opportunities right now, is because a solo operator can now pretty much behave and act like a 10-person recruitment company because of AI, because of automations and everything else, which I think is brilliant. So definitely this is as applicable for a solo as it is for a 30-person business like Alexander Grant, Jackson Grant, or as it is for a 200-person business as well. And to Mark's question, the AI agents, Mark, no, you don't have to have the £200 a month version of ChatGPT. You can build agents. You can build agents with the free version, actually. And again, we've got a whole guide on that and how to do so. So don't worry too much about that. But no, you don't need to be spending lots of money on this. This is such an important part of this. You've just got to really know how to use it properly. That's the difference. So for me, that's what you've got to be focusing on rather than spending cash. Now's not the time to be spending money on, to Alex's point, on lots and lots of shiny new things, because I just don't think we need to be able to do that.
Just add as well, James, just quickly, would be, even if you want to try stuff, just use sites like Fiverr, pay people £10-15, and get a sample of what you could have, and then sit back down with, your business partners and come up with strategy. What is the end goal? Because if you're going to invest in this tech, what do you want to get out of it? If you don't know what you want out of it, then how can you invest in the first place?
100%. Yeah, absolutely. And you can, and to Miranda's point, you can use Copilot, etc. There's lots of tools that you could use that do this now. The ability to build agents is now not a crazy futuristic thing. It's now just this thing that people do. But you have to understand the process that sits behind it. You can't just go, it's really, anyone can sit at home tonight with a glass of wine in front of the TV and go and build some agents. It will probably have the complete opposite effect of what you're trying to do down the track. So that's why we talk about the enterprise strategy. That's why we do Project Automate, to hold you back a little bit and make sure you're doing it in the right sort of way. I was going to ask a quick question, actually, to the people on the call right now, just to get a bit of a sense check, so I know. And we'll do a little poll, I suppose. That's probably the best way to do it. Maybe just everyone in the chat can just maybe put a number in. How many of you currently know how many hours a week are you currently saving because of what you're doing with AI? If you don't know, just put a question mark in the chat. If you do know, just put the number of physical hours that you're popping in at the moment, of how any hours are you actually physically saving, just to get a sense of what everyone's up to at the moment. And there's a hell of a lot of question marks coming through, which says a lot, right? So Elliot, 20 to 25 per head, brilliant. Yeah, we know that, which is great. 10 to 15 hours, 20 to 25 hours. So there's a real mixture here. Some of you 58%, which is superb. Some of you lots and lots of question marks. And that really is it, right? Unless you know what you're trying to automate, unless you know what you're trying to get AI to do for you, then you just don't really know if it's working or not. The reason why, and I keep hopping on about this, but the reason why we created Project Automate and the document, the spreadsheet that went with that, is to basically say, let's just break your company down. Forget AI, forget technology. Think about your company as a series of actions and activities in a series of workflows. Write that down as if you're writing on a piece of paper, the manual process you follow. Then you work out how many hours a day is being invested by you, your people, etc., in those different tasks and those activities. Then we go and automate and use AI to do them for us. And then we go, well, that's how many hours we're saving. No more complicated than that. But that process holds you back and does it in a less more of a restrained way, I suppose. And Alex, that's the process that you followed, right? That's how we started off the whole conversation.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And for me, it become like a voyage of discovery, because every time I could see that we could save hours, it become like, okay, what can we do next to save more time? And again, I'll repeat, we're in a second language country. So can you imagine I'm giving somebody, a mid-level or senior position, and I'm asking them to anonymize the job description, or I'm asking them to write down different competencies of how you're going to assess a candidate. I mean, this could take these guys 2 hours alone just to actually make sense of it. So if we can simplify it and save the time, I mean, looking at what Christina says, 600 hours per month, that's incredible.
Yeah.
And that's where every company can aim to get to. And we get bogged down so much by admin, and nobody likes it, so let's take it away. Let's focus on what we're experts at, which is working with people and closing deals.
Totally agree. There's an extension of this, though, and I do want to touch on this because, again, I had this conversation with these guys I was chatting to first thing this morning. I'm sure everybody on the call is familiar with Our Potential, which was the Adecco Salesforce new company that's been set up about 3 or 4 months ago. Just again, give me a I don't know, a thumbs up if you're familiar with Our Potential, or if not. I'm only seeing a few thumbs up. I thought I would. So have a look at it. So Our Potential is a new business that was set up by Adecco and Salesforce, 2 companies coming together. And basically what Our Potential does, I'll just put the name in the chat so you know exactly what I mean when I say Our Potential. You can go and have a look it up. And what Our Potential does is basically a business that's going to be providing AI agents under contract to their clients. So with the philosophy being, in the future, when you build my customers, when I build on their org chart with them as a talent consultancy, the org chart is going to have a blend of people, and it's also going to have AI agents in the org chart. So we want to now offer a service as a recruitment company to our customers to say, well, not only will we place with you contractors, we can also place with you AI agents under contract as well. This is not something that is far-fetched. This is something that's happening right here, right now. And I think that's like really, really exciting. So when we're talking about, and thank you for adding that into the chat. And when we're talking about building AI agents, it's as much about building them for ourselves as it is about helping our customers get their head around this as well, which is why we think, and we're absolutely convinced by this, is that the future of recruitment, a big chunk of it is your ability to be a talent consultancy and help your customers navigate through this as much as it is trying to figure it out yourself. and place people with them as well. So, which is interesting. Dan asked a question about with your chat GPT, with your GPTs and stuff. With your GPT, have you got it set up so you can build one and then share it with other people across your team, or how does it generally work?
Yes. So if you make any GPT, it's available on a marketplace. So anyone who can search with it, if you want to check mine out, you take Jackson Grant Recruitment, you should be able to find it. And when with the GPT, I've tried to make it just as if it's an idiot's guide, right? So the consultant, they'll type hi, and it'll say, hi, good morning, what would you like to do today? And there's a menu. And then I've told the guys, you could say, give me an extensive menu, and there's even more options with detail behind it. So number one might be write a job description. So you press number one, press enter. It will say, what is the job that you want to do? What is the industry? What are you looking for? Or alternatively, paste in a job description, and we can anonymize it based on the function. Boom, job description goes in, spits it out, 250 words, opening paragraph, responsibilities, requirements, done.
Yeah,
because
perfect.
again, also in Thailand, like you'll get people saying you need to write really compelling job advertisements, but you don't, because in Thailand, no one cares. They don't read it properly. So it's more of a marketing tool. So why do we want to spend so much time writing it? Maybe we do that with the client a little bit later, so yeah.
Yeah. 100%. And Dan, to your point, you're absolutely right. So if you've got the free version, then you can't necessarily share these on the marketplace and share. The team version allows you to share them across your team. The individual paid license allows you to use the marketplace. The free version obviously is the free version. To get around that, and just make sure no one from ChatGPT is listening in, what we did with a couple of members who are smaller businesses, like maybe 5 or 6 people, who didn't want to buy everyone a paid license. They've got one paid license. They build all the GPTs with that one paid license. They then create automations that then deliver the results of that GPT to the individual recruiters via email. So that whole process means you need one license, and that just then outputs it to all the different people. So as an example, that particular company, we built about 30 or 40 lead generation AI agents that were sort of scraping websites, scraping job boards, pulling data, identifying hiring triggers, that sort of thing, with one paid license, and then automated that. So the results of that would then be emailed to X person, Y person, Z. So Alex will get an email from me on Monday with 5 new leads. Chris will get an email from me on Tuesday with 6 new leads in her area, et cetera, et cetera. So you can use one license if you've got the automations feeding it out via email to other people, et cetera, et cetera. So that frees up the ability, or means you haven't necessarily got to buy paid licenses for everybody. Personally, I don't think ChatGPT and AI is going away anytime soon. So I would put your hand in your pocket. I think it's quite a good investment.
I've got a good impact statement for you.
Go for it.
AI won't take your job. People using AI will take your job.
Exactly. And that's it, right? It's a superpower. It makes you more efficient, more effective at your job. So would you want to be up against someone who's 10 times more effective, more efficient than that sort of thing, which is great. Can I another quick question? I just want to put this into the chat very quickly, just so I get a bit of a sense from everyone. Can I ask everyone just to write in the chat if there was one thing in particular out of everything that you currently do manually that you would like to be able to automate or get AI to do for you? What would that one thing be? Just pop that up in the chat for me, so we can have a look at that, which would be great. And again, what we can do afterwards, we can share with you some of these tools and prompts and stuff to be able to do some of these things. So just give us a bit of a sense. We'll make a nice list here, and then in the follow-up process, we'll make sure you got some stuff in here. So sourcing candidates, managing your social, data cleansing, goods, social again. I mean, the social stuff's pretty easy. On board, formatting CVs, there's been loads of that done now. That's pretty much been done to death. So that's easy to do. Reformatting, that sort of stuff. Executive search, target lists, market mapping, cool. So these are all the things that you can definitely do. So keep adding to that list. We'll take all this, we'll feed it back with you some answers and things that you can do to do that better and to help you with that process, which is cool. Right, let me just close it down for a second. I think I've got lots of things, got lots of AI bots running around on my computer at the moment, which is good. I'm conscious of time, Alex. And I want to get to sort of, I suppose, the next stage is when you think about the AI journey that you've been on, and obviously you've done a really good job of this. I think TRN's helped you a little bit on this journey to get to where you want to get to, which is great. Just give us a quick overview of that journey now. If you were to talk to another recruitment leader and say, okay, we've done this, we made quite a lot of mistakes on the journey, we've got a lot of things right at the same time. What would be your advice to someone based on your experience today, if they were now thinking, all right, I get it, I need to do something about it, I need to get on with it?
Yeah. Okay. So first and foremost, like it depends on the size of your business, right? So if you go in and you've got like 30, 40, 50 people and you're asking them to change their processes from day one, you're going to have resistance to change. So first, find a couple of process champions that are going to buy into what you want to do. Secondly, fail fast. You can make mistakes. You will make mistakes because your business is unique. Everyone's business is unique. Everybody has a USP. You need to be able to fail fast and adjust and change and keep on evolving. You cannot create a model using AI which will be perfect for the next 6 years, right? You need to consistently look at it, and it doesn't have to be a chore. It could be a hobby, or you can look at it once or twice a week. It's making those incremental changes to it. It's not trying to transform every second week, because you might find something fails and then you think, well, I need to rip it up and start again. Most of the time you don't. Stick with your strategy, but actually make an AI strategy of what you want to implement into the business, where you see these incremental savings. And the TRN, the tool that you sent, the Project Automate tool, was a godsend, because I'm like, okay, where do I start? I need to take a step back, and sometimes you can't see the wood for the trees. So you really need to analyze your business, get away from your desk, get away from your calendar, make time for this, sit down, plan, and execute, and do it on a quarterly basis rather than a weekly basis, and have checkpoints every, let's say, 2 weeks to make sure that you're on track.
100%, definitely. Oh, that's brilliant. And your journey from here now, obviously, you've got to a point where you've got 3,000 hours plus, and it's been great. If I was to say to you, if you and I were sitting down, Alex, and let's say we're sitting down over a Singer beer in December, when I'm seeing when I see you in Bangkok, but how far do you think you will have come by then? I mean, how far are you planning on taking this now as a business?
Oh God, I mean, okay, we do a lot of work with different chambers of commerce in Thailand. We're lucky enough that we can do that. Actually, the British Chamber of Commerce is just next door to us, which is perfect. But we're getting to the point now where we can source candidates without even having a consultant. And we're going to be starting to screen candidates without consultants. And some of the work that we've done with Deloitte and Mercer is it's going to be even harder for fresh grads to get into the workplace, because the gap between no experience to 2 years, AI will fill that gap.
Yeah.
So the heart of our business is bringing people in who are young and training them up and giving them opportunity. But if they're not able to go as quick, we'll use technology, which will be cheaper. So where will we go? We will continue to grow as a business. We probably won't evolve past 60 people. I think that will be the cutoff point. But everything now is, we don't look at hiring somebody as the first option. We look at tech.
Yep.
Can AI replace this? Can we squeeze somewhere? Can we optimize somewhere? The worst thing that you can do, and I think a lot of business owners do this, is they equate numbers with success and revenue, but that doesn't give you profit. Right. So if you're bringing in 50 people and saying you're a great recruitment company, it doesn't mean that you're great. It means that you've got 50 people.
100%.
What's your profit? If you don't know that and you're not using tech to enable you to make more money, then you're going to fail as a business in the long term. And just to give a bit of idea, so in Thailand, Argyle Scott, Robert Walters, Michael Page, they're seen as like the upper echelon of recruitment businesses, and we're seen as like a local boutique. Argyle Scott have hemorrhaged over millions of pounds every year for the last 4 years. All of the big boys are dying because they can't evolve. They're not agile. They have to go through all of this red tape. And this is where us as boutiques and small business owners can come in and really impact, because we're not a barge turning slowly. We can flip the script and turn super quick. And once we do that, we've got the power to make decisions as business owners that bigger companies can't. So you can personalize your service to help clients and what we'll look at, any client comes to us with a problem, we'll think, okay, let's look at it. In the past, it'd be, no, this is our contract, this is what we do. No, we're business owners, we're entrepreneurs. If we just do what's on the tin, we're going to die. We have to keep evolving, and tech is the unlock to being able to do all this.
Absolutely spot on, and you're definitely preaching to the converted, Dave. I totally agree with you. I think this is that move, isn't it? More from recruitment businesses being recruitment administrators to talent solution providers. And I don't want to over flower or over egg it, but you get the idea. There's a huge opportunity there, which I think is great. There's a lot of you. Thank you to everyone who's put in the chat. You've given us lots and lots of things that you're looking to automate and stuff. Quite a few of you have asked, what can I build AI agents to do? If you'd like me to do so, I'll put together a bit of a sort of a list of, I don't know, 100 AI agents that you might want to be building right now, and with a little guide on how to build each one of those. If that's any of use to anyone, just give us a like or a thumbs up so we know that's of interest rather than otherwise. And we'll pull that together. It's really not a problem at all. The key is just to, again, have a strategy, have a process, and build around that sort of stuff. So we'll make sure we get that done. I'm conscious of time. We try and keep these at 45 minutes. I'm conscious that I'm eating into your evening now, Alex, and I'm sure you've got far better things to do in Thailand than hanging out with me. So firstly, just, I really, as you know, we love working with you guys, and I really appreciate you being so open with everybody else today about what you're doing and that type of stuff. I'd love to revisit this again, as I said, in a few months' time to see what you're up to next, because I think you guys are really embracing it and getting on with it, which is superb. So firstly, massive thank you from me to Alex, for those of you listening in today, and for joining us. I really appreciate it, and the guys obviously at Jackson Grants as well. And for those of you who joined us live today, thanks for coming on. Hope you found that useful. Hope it's given you some ideas, etc. Obviously, the comments in the chat pretty much saying yes. So thanks, Alex, for everyone else as well. Those of you listening back to the recorded version at any stage, if you feel free, you want to find out more information about this, then obviously reach out to us. If you want to go on this journey, come and join TRN, come and get involved. We'll hold your hand. We'll take you through this process. We've got a hell of a lot of stuff on this. We're figuring this out. We're working it out. And I'm actually really excited about it. I think it's a game changer for our industry. I think our industry is going to be very, very different at the end of 2025, whether you like it or not. And the question is, what are you going to look like when you come out the other side of that? And it was a big conversation we had yesterday in one of our board meetings around, are you future fit as recruitment businesses based on where the market is going? Really interesting. We'll get all the prompts sent out to you. We'll get all the stuff that we talked about today. Feel free to reach out to us. And once again, Alex, really appreciate your time. Lovely to see you as always, and we'll catch up very soon.
Thank you, everybody. Thanks for having me. Take care.
And that's a wrap for this episode of the TRN podcast. Thank you for listening. And make sure you grab the free episode toolkit. All the links are in the description. And click follow in your podcast app so you can get notified of our next episode. If you want to get more out of your business and your people, then please unlock 30 days from our platform, TRN World, for free. And help yourself to all our training content, our guides, our templates, and peer insights. You can get started at trnworld.com/trial. And finally, if you found this episode of the TRN podcast of use, please share it with your network and tag TRN on any socials with your takeaways. Otherwise, message us directly if we can help in any way. We do reply to every question. Otherwise, we'll see you next week on the next TRN podcast.